Welcome back to the channel. Thank you for stopping by. I, of course, am Louis Porter Jr., and I do thank you for swinging on by. You couldn't be doing anything else, but you came by. I really appreciate that. So today we're going to talk about something that's kind of a weird thing that you don't really see in comics, but I always thought was going to be popular, or at least innovative enough that was going to break some boundaries. That's the use of 3D images and techniques in 2D comics. The first time I really saw someone combine like 3D in comics was an actually issue of X-Men where they did a Steam Ninja. This is like the late 90s, and someone combined a very, very basic 3D image on top of regular drawn stuff. So basically what happened is, I think Joe Madureira, I can't pronounce his name right, was doing the artwork for it, and they did this Steam Ninja where someone did the 3D rendering of it and placed it in the actual comic. And it's the first time I remember seeing something like that. I mean, not like Digital Justice from Batman where the whole thing's computerized. I mean, putting 3D elements in the book with the 2D elements. And it worked out well. I mean, it worked out well. It wasn't the best thing, but it worked out well for the time. And then like the next big thing I remember seeing was US War Machine. That was a totally done black and white comic book that was all 3D. It was done very quickly. Chuck Austen wrote it. That's what I remember, because he was not a very good writer. Sorry, Chuck, I just didn't like your work. And the idea behind it was kind of valid, but the execution needed some work, and it wasn't really there. The faces didn't look right. The pose looked very stiff. They tried to get a lot of action, but it was very difficult. So that was like a problem on that. But then I saw the book The Red Star. That really changed my whole view on 3D in 2D work. And I saw it, I became a big fan of it. And funny enough, way back in the early 2000s at a MegaCon convention, I got to meet all the people who worked on the project and with the company. Chris Gossett, I had a really long conversation with him. It was amazing. We talked, I mean, easily 2-3 hours. Just information, getting how he did the technique, how stuff was done, meeting the whole group, like I said. Snakebite, who was doing the coloring on the book, just very interesting, just techniques he was using on that. And then one of the most interesting things, and it blew my mind, I'm always still amazed by this. So the person who was doing that 3D animation for the book was a guy by the name of Pauly Schreiber. Now, if you're old enough, you probably will recognize Pauly Schreiber if you saw him face to face, because Pauly Schreiber, he became famous and infamous because of the Power Rangers. He played Bulk, the heavier set guy. Yeah, that was him. And he got into doing, because of Power Rangers, he got some money. He started doing some directing and doing some 3D animation, and really got into it really, really big. And he was providing a lot of 3D backgrounds for the Red Star. While most of in the foreground, the characters, the little pieces were drawn. Some things were drawn, some things were done, not really drawn, but done in 3D. But most time, the background, the cityscape, was always in 3D. And I thought to myself, that's a brilliant idea. If you could develop a world, if you're going to do any world, and you build the background all digitally, you can have the characters just drawn on their own like layer by themselves. So the artist has to really focus on that. Someone else would deal with the background. And I thought that could really, if done well, it could be executed amazingly well. And the guys at Red Star did it amazingly well. It was the best I've ever seen. I don't think I remember seeing anyone else try it, and I don't remember seeing anyone try it since then. And the process is slow, don't get me wrong, but I thought the part that was really brilliant about it is your cityscapes are already built. I'd say they were generic, but that's not even appropriate. They were done in a way that colors could come in, color them, shade them, get them to look a little bit better, and it looked realistic. There's one, it's early on, where they were like I could say a raised train, like an elevated train, but it's on a track above, and it's in the background. It's really well done for the scene. And I was like, that's kind of brilliant. And then on top of it, a lot of the action stuff was done regularly in regular 2D. There was another scene that's probably one of the better scenes. I have the trade here somewhere. They have a couple, they have like 3 versions of the trade. I have the first one. Oh, there it is, over there. I have the first one, and it's really, really enjoyable. It's a really great book. I'm really impressed with it. And if you get a chance, I put a link at the bottom so you can check it out. Also with US War Machine, there's also a link in the bottom if you want to check it out on Amazon. It's just really cool stuff done in 3D, and I always wondered why no one ever did that. I know it's costly to add 3D to a 2D project, but to me it seemed like if you pick the things that you know are going to be repetitive, you don't want the artist to draw and waste time with, you let someone else do that. You let a compositor do that. You find a 3D person who's good at that, building these objects that they can really put together. Because I mean, once you build a cityscape for a city, you just put the people in the city where you want them, and you at this thing and near this thing, and you shoot the background. Oh, I need to shoot from this angle. We're going to get the camera. We'll shoot it from this angle, and maybe you have that stuff pre-shot. So literally, all you have to do is like find the one you want, be like, okay, you just shot the background, great. I draw on top of that. My composer will draw on top of that, make it look better. Boom, we get it out. And I just thought that would be a brilliant way to handle this. But no one ever did that. And I was always surprised that these guys who are on Image, doing it themselves, tried it, and it did well. I mean, there was interest in the Red Star, but I think, you know, like most things, it was expensive to do, it was tough to do, and there was no way to automate it as fast as they'd want to. But that was also the mid-early 2000s. Now, 20 years later, is the technology at that level to provide something for you? Because I kind of wonder, in 20 years, it's probably changed enough that, hey, there is lots of stuff that can be done 3D in a 2D source. So, just something to think about. I'm hoping that you guys will watch these videos and maybe get inspired to try things or even like talk more about this kind of stuff. So if you want to talk more about it, leave a comment below. And as always, thank you so much for stopping by. I really appreciate it. Hey, thank you for checking out my channel. Do me a favor, check out my other videos, and if you like what you see, subscribe.